A very good afternoon to you, engineer. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Good to see you, sir. We are going to be
Yes,
starting in a moment.
I'm ready whenever our esteemed guests are ready. And you?
I think we have I know within a very short time most people will join, but we may not be able to be waiting for them. We have to commence. But maybe we can give it like 5 minutes. I don't know if that is okay for you, but for me, I think I'm good to go.
Yeah, it all depends on you. You are the chief host. I'm the guest.
Okay. I think we have to go. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 35th edition of our monthly interview session inside the arena. And today inside the arena is a very distinguished engineer, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. He has bagged so many fellows of different professional bodies, and he has caught his niche in the engineering profession. We are going to be listening to him to see some of the things he has achieved in his career. Today, by the special grace of God, is the managing director of Boa Cement Limited. It's my pleasure to welcome inside the arena today a very distinguished engineer, Yusuf Haliru Binji, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. You're welcome,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you so much.
And I'm your regular host. My name is Engineer Ben O.C. Oko. Before we commence the program, let us also send the ground rules. So we have 3 segments of this program. First is what we call the direct free kick. I know you are very conversant with football. Direct free kick is when the questions are directed to the guest, and he has the honor of answering the questions. And after that, we move to the next segment, which we call the corner kick. The corner kick is the time when the participants are also given the opportunity to ask questions. And from the corner kick segment, we move to what we call the extra time. In football, anything can happen at the extra time, but this extra time is a good extra time because it's the time that we also put the participants on the hot seat and we ask them questions about the guest. And today we have fantastic prizes that will be won today by 3 lucky participants. Very fantastic. We have one of them. They are heavy. I may not be able to lift them. One is an LG microwave oven. That's our first prize. We have also Binatone air fryer, and also we have the final one, a Binatone standing fan. These are the 3 prizes that are going to be won today, and 3 lucky participants are going to be going home with these prizes. So we go on with our guests. Once again, it's my pleasure to welcome you inside the arena, Engineer Yusuf Binji. Who is Engineer Yusuf Binji? Can you tell us about your early life, your family background, and how they influenced your career choice?
Thank you so much, Engineer Ben Oko. Distinguished engineers, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to be on this program today. I'm highly delighted. I will go straight to the point. As an engineer, Yusuf Haliru Binji is an engineer to the core. I read engineering at the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and graduated in 1990 with a degree in chemical engineering. And I did my MSc in chemical process engineering from the University College London. That is part of the University of London. And I started my working career immediately afterwards, and I started in cement company of Northern Nigeria in Sokoto. I hail from Sokoto State, which is well known to you. And I had my early education in Sokoto Capital School, Federal Government College Sokoto, before I went to ABU Zaria. So when I started my career, it was at a cement plant, and I was employed as a trainee engineer. It's a very interesting program whereby graduates are brought and then they are trained in all fields to be able to take up permanent appointment after 1 year of training. And I did that successfully and I was absorbed. And then I started as an engineer too. That is the first grade in the industry when you join the profession, just like you join the civil service at level 8 or somehow. So to me, it has been very, a very rewarding career in engineering because I've seen it all. Today is my 34th year practicing engineering, and I started as a people engineer. And since then, I've never looked back, I've never deviated. And along the way, so many things came my way because I will say probably I'm one of the very, very lucky engineers to be given that opportunity to practice what they really learned, to do what they wanted to do, and to have the benefit of working in the industry. So I've been an industry man, I've been in manufacturing all my life. And that is so interesting. You see, I started in operations, and sometime in 1995, there was an issue in quality control. And then I was also taken there to oversee the quality control department. And later on, I was brought back to the production department and I was directly in charge of operations, shift engineer, chief engineer, and I rose in 2002 to managerial level. So this is my 22nd year in management, but basically it is engineering management, and that is a very, very great opportunity for me. And let me tell you a small but very interesting story. I did my NYSC. I was posted to Imo State. And after my orientation at the camp at Polinekede, I was posted to a village called Awo Omama. And one of my very good friends, Sambo, he still calls me the man from Awo Omama. So, but unfortunately, I fell sick. I was posted actually to a brewery in that village. I think it's some few kilometers from Owerri. So I felt sick and I had to redeploy to Lagos where I had relatives. So in Lagos, I was posted to Nigeria LNG Limited, and that was in 1990. And at that time, the Nigeria LNG was just at the design stage with a team of 18 engineers, mechanical, electrical, automation, and they were trying to get their uh, uh, acts together with some few commercial people. I think it was just 18 in total. And I was one of the two coppers that were posted there. And the first job that was given to me was to tidy up all the bits and pieces of papers that were lying all over the place. So it took me like about 2 months. I read each and every paper, and then I say, okay, this is a commercial paper, this is automation, this is mechanical, and I will file it. So I did the filing system there then. But at the end of the exercise, I became very, very knowledgeable and conversant with everything that they were doing. And that to a large extent actually shaped the way I work. It helped me to be a very, very organized person. Even now, more than 30 years after, you ask me for any piece of information, any piece of paper that I've come across, the way my office is arranged, you'll find a semblance of what I did as a cooper there. It was one of the benefits and takeaways from the youth service. Now, coming back to my career, there were 7 cement companies in the past that were majorly predominantly owned by the federal government of Nigeria and some state governments. And the ownership structure had a lot of government influence, and these companies were not really performing so well. So the government then, under the TCPC of Dr. Hamza Zayad, did a partial privatization. But that was not so successful. It was only in 2000, I think, under the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo, that he directed the Bureau for Public Enterprises to fully privatize the cement companies. And that was done successfully. And then the 3 companies that were the most viable, Boko, Benue Cement, and the Lafarge, Wapo and Ashaka, and also the Sokoto Cement, were taken over by different investors. We were lucky to have a Norwegian company called Scandinavian Cement, that came in 2001. And the first thing they did was to try to turn around the company. And I was one of the few people that they identified and charged with a lot of responsibility. And I started work with them. And like I said, by 2002, I was already managerial level. So, and by 2003, I was put on a program called the Heidelberg Cement Academy, because the Scandinavian Cement itself was taken over by Heidelberg Cement, which at that time was the 4th largest cement company in the world. It is a German company. Now it is the 2nd largest in the world because it has made a lot of mergers and acquisitions. So Heidelberg identified a lot of African talent and potentials, and they took them and put them in a 2-year intensive program. And I was part of it. And that took me to work in over 13 different countries in Africa and in Europe. And Europe, mostly in Scandinavia. It was very interesting. And later on, I came back and I continued with my career working in the production sector. I rose to become technical director and executive director. But then something happened to Heidelberg, and they divested from Nigeria. And then Boa Group, which is a local conglomerate, bought the Sokoto plant and the Bendel Cement Company around that 2008, 2010. Boa was into trading mostly, like most Nigerian businesses at that time. And there was this opportunity to migrate into manufacturing because, trading is not sustainable. It's not a sustainable business. So, and I was identified also by the owner of the company to chart the course for the revamping of these companies. And then we started the revamping of the cement industry and the 2 companies that we owned. At that time, we had in 2010 only 3% market share. We were producing about 500,000 metric tons of cement per annum. And so the owner said, what should we do? I said, we have to build new plants. So we took a trip to Okpela in Edo State. I remember it very clearly, vividly. I drove from Abuja and he came through Benin. So we went and we had a look at the then Bendel cement. He asked me, what do we do to restart this company? I said, sir, we don't start it, we shall abandon it and build a new one. He said, what? I just bought this company. I said, yes. I said, I have looked at the technology. It's almost obsolete. It had what is called a devil's preheater. A devil's preheater is an energy sucker. I said, you cannot compete with new plants. Your cost of production will be far, far high. Secondly, it had an installed capacity of 300,000 tons per annum. I said, modern cement lines have a capacity of minimum 3 million tons per annum, one single production line. It doesn't really make sense. And he agreed instantly. He just started looking around and said, we should find land and build a new one. We don't demolish this one because I don't own it 100%, 87%, 13% still belongs to Edo State. So we went 5 kilometers away, and that was how we started. And we built the first production line, which we commissioned successfully in 2015. I was the project manager then. I was holding the title of Executive Director Technical for our group, but I spearheaded that project, and we completed it. It was a very, very challenging project because at a point we had like 28 contractors on site. We had Julius Berger doing the civil works. We had the equipment from FL Schmidt. We had the turbines coming from Siemens. So you can imagine all the big names were there. But we accomplished it, and it was commissioned we started production in August 2015. The first bag of cement came out on the 13th of August, and straight it went to the market because the quality was okay. We did our homework very well, and immediately it hit the market the next month. We signed the contract for the second line, another 3 million metric tons per annum, which we successfully completed after 3 years. At the same time, we were expanding our production in Sokoto also. Today, Sokoto, we have completed line 5. In Odo, we have completed 3 lines, and we are building the 4th line in Ososo, about 10 kilometers away from the existing site. As I'm speaking today, we have an installed capacity of 17 million metric tons. So you could actually see the transformation from 500,000 tons to 17 million metric tons. And I am so fortunate.
Okay, I will
So
come back
fortunate to be
to
part of that.
I will
Yeah.
come back to Bua. I'll come back to Bua because I know most of your career, line centers on Bua cement and the cement industry. I want to also touch the other aspect of your life so that we can take it down. Then when we get to your leadership in Bua, then we can, take all other questions that have to do with Bua cement and the cement industry. Now, what inspired you to study chemical engineering, and what were your favorite subjects during your time at Ahmadu Bello University?
I was very good at science in secondary school. And so I took subjects like chemistry, physics, mathematics was compulsory, additional mathematics, biology, and everything else. And uh, I I wanted to be a medical doctor, and I was actually registered to study the combination chemistry, physics, and biology at the School of Basic Studies for my IJMB. And a week after, I dropped biology and took mathematics. So at the end of the year, then I chose chemical engineering because the School of Basic Studies was next to the Department of Chemical Engineering, and I became fascinated by it. So I decided to say, okay, I want to be an engineer. Probably a decision that didn't go down well with my father because he wanted me to be a doctor. My father was one of those old, people educationists, and they believed that to make it in life, you have to be a teacher or a medical doctor. I think engineering was something new, so to say. So, and that's how I read engineering at ABU Zaria.
All right. Which was the most memorable or interesting moment during your university days or as a young professional?
Well, during my university days, there was nothing good about being an engineering student. You know, you're because as you
Seriously?
know, during the first year, during the first year, you have to go to other departments, mechanical engineering. Oh, there was one very tough subject, mechanics of machines. I remember, and we even had to do some metallurgical engineering and all these things. It was really, really tough. We never had so much time to ourselves. We were always doing what was called TDB till daybreak, trying to catch up.
Yeah.
So, so it was really tough. But yeah, along the way also, it wasn't all about studying. I was an activist. I joined the Gamji Memorial Club and I became the president, national president while in the university, and that provided a kind of a side attraction, so to say. So, but it was okay. We enjoyed our studies then. We were only 23 in the class, and we had good lecturers, and it was so fantastic when I remember all the subjects we did: chemical reaction engineering, thermodynamics, petroleum technology, all these other things. It was really fun.
Outside their professional life, what hobbies or activities do you enjoy?
Basically, there are three. One, I love traveling. Secondly, I love reading. If not for the work now, you will never find me without a book, you know, so to say. And thirdly, I love hard work. It's a hobby. I can't do without working. I'm always working day and night, so
How did you join the Nigerian Society of Engineers? Who introduced you to the Nigerian Society of Engineers?
again, you see, that's really a very interesting story. The Sokoto branch of Nigerian Society of Engineers was formed in 1989. And as at that time, when I joined the company, the headquarters of the local branch was domiciled by our own company. And the MD of our company, naturally, he was the chairman of the local branch. So he forced everybody. You have no choice. If you are an engineer, you must belong. And the meetings were held in our staff club. And he knew all the staff and he would force us. He said, if you don't come, outsiders will not come. So we were sort of forced to be part of it. But you see, later on along the line, things went down the drain and the branch became moribund. We will never forget Engineer Kashim Ali. One day, I think he came with his officials. They came to Sokoto and we hosted them. And he said he had dissolved the local branch and he ordered an election there and then, elected new leadership. And I emerged as the chairman of the local branch. And he said, start afresh. Forget about people that are not really serious. Yeah, you have very young and energetic people, so you should start. And then that was how I became the chairman. I think my tenure was supposed to be for 2 years. I really can't remember how many years I did until I left Sokoto, maybe like 5, 6 years. I remained as the
Wow.
chairman of the local branch. It was very good.
Now, talking about the chairman of Sokoto branch, can you, share some experiences you had as chairman and some of the impacts you made?
Yes. The first thing we did were two things. One was to embark on an aggressive sensitization and membership drive. So we visited all the organizations that had engineers in Sokoto and we appealed to them to come and register. So our membership actually grew. Suddenly, I think from less than 10, we were more than 100. Then, secondly, we were able to organize a lot of activities. We organized a symposium, a colloquium. We held the dinner. We held the inauguration ceremony. And I have to pay actually my respects to three presidents of the NSE that were really very supportive of our activities. One, Kashim Ali, that actually set the tone and made us come into existence then, revived the branch. Then Engineer Ajibola, he he paid a presidential visit to us in Sokoto, and when we had our AGM, and he was there, I think, like for 2 or 3 days. Then later, Engineer Mustafa Shehu, he really encouraged us. He also visited, and we had a lot of activities. And we were also able to commence the ERM, of which I was chairman. And particularly, I remember when we had the flooding, I think in 2010, when the Goronyo Dam sort of was released a lot of water, it damaged the bridge linking Sokoto town to the university, and we were there. We saw it, and we also gave some solutions for the palliative measures that were done. So it was an interesting thing. Yeah.
You are a fellow of several engineering societies. How do you contribute to advancing the engineering profession in Nigeria?
Mostly, like I said, I've been in the manufacturing sector, and we have done a lot of hundreds of engineers were employed through our activities. I'm very proud of that. And we also contributed quite a lot to a lot of engineering activities. And like I said, at a point, I was a board member of the Sokoto Energy Research Center, representing the professional associations. And I bagged a fellowship of the Nigerian Society of the Solar Energy Society. The same thing also as a result of my activities in the mining sector, because the cement industries are one of the biggest miners that you can ever find. And I was able to get a fellowship of the Nigerian Society of Mining Engineers. I'm also a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers, as well as the NSE. So I've touched many lives, many fields. Um, the contributions to engineering are too numerous to mention, but in the sense, the biggest is that we have been able to sustain an industry that is now locally grown. Nigeria no longer imports cement. We have been able to employ a lot of Nigerians, thousands and thousands, more than 10,000 people, directly or indirectly, are benefiting from the activities of which I, with all sense of humility, I've been privileged to be part of, to spearhead. Today, like I said, like I'm speaking, we employ more than 10,000 directly and
Wow.
indirectly in just the cement sector alone of Boa Cement.
Wow. How do you mentor young engineers? Yeah.
Can you come again?
How do you mentor young
Yes,
engineers?
during our time at the Nigerian Society of Engineers Sokoto branch, we held all these symposia, and every week we will hold a meeting in our club and invite engineers, including even student engineers, in which we give them lectures and encourage them, that they should study engineering. Those that are studying, that when they graduate, they should actually go and register. And throughout my career, whenever I'm working and I see engineers always get the priority. I encourage quite a lot of them. And even here, as we are speaking, I see a lot of people that I somehow employed, and they joined, and today they are even chief engineers working in the organization. And one particular aspect of engineering uh, that I've always uh, done is to give engineers the chance to practice what they want. You must have faith in people. You must have faith in their ability. You must give them opportunity. So many instances that I recall, and I said, okay, this guy, give him a chance. Like one day there was one of our staff, a new staff. He actually made a mistake. He went and started a big drive, a big equipment, without informing the power plant to increase the number of gensets that were on. So the whole factory went into blackness, into total darkness. The power tripped, everything stopped. And unfortunately for him, then the white man, the MD, was there. And he saw it. It happened. He said, "What happened?" And it was a big issue. This guy was sacked on the spot. So I pleaded for him. He was on training. And the MD said, "Let's give him a chance." 5 years down the line, he became our best engineer. He learned from his mistakes. So you have to give people the opportunity. We are not perfect. We make mistakes and we learn. And engineering is a continuous experiment. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Now, coming to the cement industry, do you think your involvement in the cement industry has helped to shape the future of the industry?
Yeah, certainly, I've contributed my own bit. I've been part and parcel of it the last 34 years. So I will say all the tremendous achievements that we have made, at least I've contributed my own quota to part of it. I remember particularly in 1993, Nigeria was importing like 55% of the cement that it needed. Only 45% was locally produced, and the government started what was called the backward integration policy. And 10 years down the line, Nigeria was producing all the cement that it needed. Today, we even have excess capacity. At least two of the major manufacturers are even exporting cement, including ourselves. We're exporting it to neighboring countries. So, and that development and the progress that was achieved and the self-sufficiency, at least one can say he has contributed his own bit towards achieving that. Uh, Personally, I spearheaded the building of 6 new cement production lines. And I think that is a rare opportunity for anybody to be given in Nigeria. I don't think not many have had that opportunity to build 6 new production lines.
Okay. And the ND CEO of Boasment, what would you consider your most significant achievement so far?
Impliedly, I've already told you, um, we grew a business from 3% market share to 30% market share. It is a fully Nigerianized company. The management is almost, I would say, 100% Nigerian. We did it with the belief and faith we have in our people. Of course, we have an operation and maintenance agreement with some Chinese company that are running the plants for us. But basically, I think that has been my single biggest achievement, to build something out of nothing, to have my products distributed all over Nigeria from 500,000 tons in 2015 to 17 million tons today. There is no state you go, you do not see cement, and the quality is excellent, probably the best in terms of strength and whatever. So I think that has been my biggest achievement.
How does Boasment manage competition and maintain its position as one of the leading, you just said, probably the best, as one of the leading cement manufacturers in Nigeria?
When you are in business, competition is natural. You must always have competition, and you can't shy away from it. But the most important thing is to have the foresight and the commitment to continue. Like now that we are having very, very difficult times in Nigeria and challenges, and you find every month 2 to 3 big companies they are exiting. That never crossed our mind, because whoever is into business really knows there are good times, there are bad times. And the thing is, you have to be there, because one day things are going to turn for the better. And it is only those that manage to survive that will benefit from the better times. So that is business. It's just like life. From the cradle to the grave, it fluctuates between fortune and misfortune. Anything cannot be all rosy. Anything cannot be all too good. So, and definitely it's one of the things that make you successful as a business. You must be customer focused. So we built our distributorship structure strength from 12 dealers a few years ago to over 600 dealers. And then when you look at the turnover, it has multiplied more than 1,000 times, you know. So these are some of the things that you really do as a business to survive.
Okay, now, how do you see the Nigerian cement industry evolving in the next 10 years? And what role will Bua Cement play?
The Nigerian cement industry has always been characterized by continuous investment because the demand is increasing. Some years the demand will increase by 10%, in some good years 15%. A few years, I think like 2015, 2016, the increase in demand was flat. So what will happen if we do not continue investing? It means there will come a time that the demand will outstrip the supply. And then we go back to where we came from, importing cement, people paying exorbitant prices. So for us, we are continuously investing and building to be able to match up with the growing demand in the Nigerian economy. You know, there is a big housing deficit. There is a big infrastructural gap in Nigeria, and a substantial aspect of filling this deficit and gaps is cement. It is the basic constituent for building. So, as demand keeps on increasing with increasing rate of urbanization, the increasing use of cement as in making concrete roads by the present administration, we have to continue investing to build up more plants to meet up with the 10 to 15% annual increase in the consumption. So that means every year you have to build one new production line of 3 million metric tons each. Because as at today, the demand is around 30 million tons per annum. And that is basically what we are producing. If this demand goes to 33 million or 35 million, we will be in deficit. Nigeria will have to resort to importation to bridge the gap. So somebody has to step in. And that is what we are doing. And we make sure that every 2 years or 1 year, we bring into existence one new production line. So we'll continue investing. This year, we signed a contract for a new line that will be completed in the next 30 months in 2026.
We are trying to, get some information about the cement industry. You just mentioned it because, cement is very important as far as engineering is concerned. And again, we are privileged that the guest in today's Inside the Arena is an MD of a cement company, and also is one of us. That's why we are emphasizing on these, areas, so that our participants can also have some, information with that regards. Now, what role do you think the Nigerian government should play in supporting the growth of the cement industry?
To be very honest, the Nigerian government has done quite a lot because it has given us the wherewithal to set up our cement plants. The backward integration policy encouraged those that were already in the business to be able to reinvest their profit from the import that was done then to build local cement manufacturing plants. And that is why we have been able to achieve self-sufficiency. But of course, also, we live within the bigger macroeconomic environment in Nigeria, and there are quite a lot of challenges. The most recent being the devaluation of the naira and the inability to source forex at the official exchange rate before the abolishment of before the floating of the naira. And so it is a big challenge. We need to have what is called an industrial fuel. Industrial fuel, it means a certain kind of fuel that will be subsidized by government to power all the manufacturing plants. Each country has it. Some countries will choose coal, some will choose natural gas, some will choose LPFO, and they will give kind of incentives so that these companies can use it as a basis for powering their energy needs. Now, 60% of our cost of production goes towards energy. It is a highly energy intensive process. Currently, we are using
that would have been my next question, because I wanted to ask you, maybe you combine the two. I wanted to ask you, how has the transition to alternative fuel, biomass impacted cement production in Nigeria?
uh, each of the cement manufacturers so far is doing one form of alternative fuel program or the other. For us particularly, we are using biomass, and at a point we use biomass up to 10 to 15% substitution, but now it is far less because our requirement is very high. We are not able to source that huge quantities. The other kind of fuels that you can use as substitute, uh, alternative fuels, they have some secondary economic values. Like you can use tires. Used tires have a lot of calorific energy. And the cement plant itself, we have what is called the kiln. The kiln is the pyro process. It is a furnace. It operates under very, very high temperatures. The temperature there could be up to 1,450 degrees Celsius. So it is a good incinerator for anything. Waste, medical waste, hazardous waste, liquid waste, engine oils, solid waste like tires, rubber, plastic, basically everything you can burn in this furnace. I spent 3 months in a cement plant in Norway, in a place called Breivik. And this cement plant at that time, that was like 15 years ago, they were using almost 90% alternative fuel. And waste was coming all the way by ship from Finland, from Sweden, from Norway, and the ships will bat at the ports and they will use all the soil, plastic waste, all kinds of waste they were burning. And they had what is called a negative energy cost. That means before they even start their machine, because they are being paid to burn this waste, they start declaring profit. So it's a kind of waste wealth. And you find such companies are very profitable. So we need to go that way here in Nigeria, especially all this plastic waste lying all around the household waste. The cement plant can burn anything, as long as it has some calorific value. And that is going to reduce our dependence on the conventional fuels like natural gas, like LPFO, like the LNG that we are using now. And that is very interesting. Let me tell you, our cement plant in Sokoto today is using LNG. We are the biggest domestic consumer of LNG. You can repeat it anywhere. We are the biggest consumer of LNG today in Nigeria. We use close to 350 tons of LNG a day. And that is almost like 20 tankers. And these are transported all the way from Port Harcourt to Sokoto under cryogenic conditions. And by that, I mean at temperatures below 162 degrees Celsius minus. Then we have storage tanks that can store this under that freezing condition. And we have a regasification plant.
Once again, you say temperature below, is it negative? Say it again, please, sir.
Negative, below 260 degrees Fahrenheit minus or minus 160 degrees Celsius. Yes.
Okay.
And we have had that facility now for 4.5 years. And all our generators, we generate 120 megawatts of electricity. And for the last 4 years, these generators have been running on LNG. And we also use part of this LNG in our furnace. And like I said, every single day, between 18 to 20 tankers move from Port Harcourt to Sokoto. And this has been consistent. Anybody that lives around that route, you'll see yellow tankers with Greenville LNG written on them. They are all heading to Sokoto. We are the biggest consumer user of this. So we made the shift from sourcing our energy from LPFO to LNG. It is a much cleaner fuel. We are using local content because, as we are aware, Nigerian refineries were down for quite a number of years, and we couldn't get this LNG, the LPFO that we were using. So we had to abandon all our generators, and we bought brand new that will use LNG with diesel as a backup. But they are running 99% on LNG now, and
they are cost effective.
Yeah, the cost is another issue because
you talked about waste to power plants. I have been privileged to visit 2 waste to power plants, one in Singapore and one in Malmö in Sweden. And we have a lot of waste, littering around the streets of Nigeria. Don't you think that waste to power plant will be more, cost effective than transporting 20 minus the cost of purchase? You are now talking about the cost of transportation and keeping it under that temperature. Have you done a comparative analysis of the two, and what do you think about that?
Yeah, certainly we have done it. The major challenge you will face is that 2 things. One, how is the waste collection being done? People to go and gather all this waste that you need. Then, secondly, in Nigeria, you call it waste, but the moment we start using it, it's no longer waste. It becomes a very expensive product because then people will not allow us to use it as waste. They will be selling it to us. So it's simple economics. We started using tires, but now they tell us, no, the tires, they have some copper in it. We prefer to burn the tires and take out the copper. And in fact, they are doing it right a kilometer outside my factory. So it has a second-hand value. And then secondly, also, even the tires in Europe, in most places where they are using tires, I work in a factory in Tanzania called TPCC, Tanzania, cement company, Portland Cement Company. And in Tanzania, they use tires to a certain extent to provide like 20-30% of the energy source. But in Nigeria here, we use tires until they are completely worn out. Not much rubber is left, before we discard them. So if you buy a tire, it's not like you are buying a second-hand tire in Europe that has twice or 3 times the remaining rubber content as you'll find in Nigeria. So our situation is very peculiar. The West now, if you start pick all these plastics, very soon it will be more expensive than the LNG itself. And another challenge is that you see, when you fill a trailer load with plastic, how many tons will you be able to carry? 10 tons maybe. and you transport 10 tons from Aba, maybe to where we have our cement plant 1,000 kilometers, you find the cost of diesel that are used in transporting that, because that thing is not heavy. At a point, I was transporting wood shavings from Benin to Sokoto, and a trailer that normally should carry 40 tons can carry only a maximum of 13 tons, 13 tons of wood shavings. So it's not so effective, especially with the cost of diesel as we have it as at today. So you find the cost per ton is even more than the cost per ton of cement.
That is issue of I will not ask you that question because it is not. I think we'll bring somebody maybe from the Ministry of Transportation one day inside the arena to talk about the railways in Nigeria, because I think that railway would have been the safest and the best means of transporting those LPG
Certainly.
from the source to their location. Anyway, we leave it. Now, your career has included, has involved a lot of international exposure. You've worked in Sweden, you said you worked in 13 countries, you worked in Norway and the United Kingdom, and so many other African countries, including the one you mentioned, Tanzania. How has this influenced your management style and approach?
Very important. And I would like the audience to take this point seriously. As engineers, we operate with machines. A machine does exactly as you tell it to. It's like a laptop. You switch it on, it has to come on, provided it is fully charged. But you use certain assets, and these are human assets. And these are not like machines. So you must have that feeling. And what my wide exposure actually gave me was to have an appreciation of different cultures. We are all different. So not even culturally, but even as individuals. It teaches you how to relate with people, how to give instructions, how to receive instructions, how to get the maximum potential out of yourself. I've been privileged to attend over 35 international courses. And in one of these courses, it was how do you manage yourself? I did it in South Africa. Then how do you manage people? How do you manage others? You know, intercultural seminars. You have to understand people and you have to get the work done. Never lose focus, but remember you are using people and people have feelings. They are not like the machines that do as you tell them to do. So that is a very important aspect. You must have that sense of people have feelings.
Thank you very much, Engineer Yusuf Haliru Binji. For those who are just joining us, we have inside the arena today a very distinguished Nigerian, a very distinguished engineer who has caught his niche in the engineering profession. And I can categorically say that he has traversed the length and breadth of the engineering profession and practice both vertically and horizontally without any angular deflection. He is the managing director and chief executive officer of Boa Cement Limited. And we have in as our participants very distinguished Nigerian engineers who have joined us today. We are wrapping it up. I have to ask you this question, with these few questions for our young engineers also to learn from your experience in life. What has been the toughest challenge you have faced in your career, and how did you overcome it?
Several. But certainly, you know, it's not like a kind of a personal challenge. We did a merger, two cement companies in towards the end of 1999. And it was just at the beginning of the COVID period in 2020. We brought two companies and we listed them on the floors of the stock exchange. And I remember I was there to ring the bell and we did the formalities at the stock exchange. And immediately we came into the market with about 33 billion shares. And immediately our company was delisted as the fourth biggest in terms of market cap. And so a lot of expectations because we are trying to align two systems together. One in Edo, one in Sokoto, trying to bring them under a common umbrella. The biggest challenge is what do you do with the people? Was lay off an option? We said no, we will not lay off Nigerians. And COVID came and everything was grinding to a halt and nobody knew where Nigeria was heading to. And the expatriates at that time, I would say we were constructing some of our plants and we had quite hundreds and hundreds of them and they were agitating to go back to even keep them here. So it was to manage the human element was quite challenging. And then you also needed foreigners to come in. And at that time there was even restriction of movement. And we had to put people inside trucks carrying food because food was allowed to move. So an expatriate will land in, we had to get special permission for him to come. But to move from Lagos to Edo, then he has to follow maybe a truck carrying rice or whatever, for example, because that will not be stopped. And so, because you just had to keep on moving. So many examples, but I think this is very striking. We came out of it and we are where we are today.
Right. Now, this is for Boa Group. Now, have you faced any personal setbacks that shaped your professional or leadership style?
Yeah, like I said, life fluctuates between fortune and misfortune. Every day you come to office, maybe you start the day very happy. At the end of the day, you are not so happy. But next morning you are happy again because there is some good news. Sometimes when you are managing a business with thousands and thousands of people, with a lot of demands and expectations, and with machines, and in the Nigerian economic context, what do you do? So you just try to overcome all these challenges and really move on. It's part of life. But one thing you must remember, there is no substitute to hard work. And this should go down into the minds of all our young engineers. Then you must maintain your own personal integrity. Because whatever happens in life, as long as you are able to, at the end of the day, you go back home and you sleep with a clean conscience, you are okay. Never has anything ever stopped me from going to sleep. If I want to sleep now, I can sleep in the next 30 minutes because I know uh, that is life. You will meet challenges, and if you don't meet challenges, you are nothing. And the good things always come after you overcome the challenges that you have met. That is life. We must be prepared for it.
Do you balance the demands of your career with your personal life and other interests?
Family is very important. The family is your pillar of strength because when you go back home, they are the ones they are the only ones you can really open up. You must have a very strong and supportive family. You must create time out of your tight schedules. Most of the time, I'm forced to work in places where my family is, but I've always made it a duty And I think maybe probably some of my family members are here. Listen, they know wherever I went to,
I
when
wanted
it
to
is
ask
weekend,
you
I
that
go back.
I saw one Hawa Binji. I wrote it down and I said I was going to ask you if that is one of your family members.
Certainly.
Continue, sir.
Certainly. So they will always tell you that and another has just joined, Mariam Binji,
Yusuf.
and she's my sister also. So,
Oh,
and they will always tell
fantastic.
you, wherever I go, I always have tickets, you know, for weekend, either Friday evening or Saturday morning, I will be back home where they are. And then Monday morning, I set off. And I've been doing this maybe for the last 5 years. And probably I'm in the air maybe as much as some of the pilots in Nigeria all the time, so to say. So it is very important, you must have a very strong and supportive family because that will help you get through most of the challenges that you face in the office. Your problems in the office are temporary, but the family is permanent.
No. When I asked you the question concerning, other your hobbies, and one of the things you said is that you love to read. And talking about reading now, you've had a lot of experiences in the industry and then in your life. Are you considering, writing a book or exploring other ways to document your vast knowledge and experiences?
Certainly, when the work eases or when I retire, I will consider writing a book. I was
When do you plan to
fascinated.
retire?
Yes. I was fascinated. Yesterday, I was at the University of Lagos. I was invited as a panelist by Unilag Consult, and the chairman of Unilag Consult, Professor Mohammed Awal, was my classmate in ABU. So he invited me to be part of this panel, and we sat down. And I've been coming to Lagos for over 40 years. And that was the first time I stepped into Unilag. And I remember one of the professors remarked that this is your first time stepping into here. I said, yes, yes. So I don't know. Maybe I might end up in the university, one day. So I will do a lot of writing.
But you've not. If you are given the opportunity to write about engineer Yusuf Haliru Binji, what do you think you would call the title of that book?
Honestly, I have no idea because normally I don't like talking about myself. If you remember, it took me quite a lot of time before you were so convincing for me to be on this program. You know, I slept over it. I woke up with it. I said, no. In the morning, I say I will do it. In the evening, I say, no, 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 no. I'm not going to do it because, quite honestly, by nature, I'm an introverted person. I tend to shy away from a lot of publicity that I will normally have. So that's the way I am.
Oh, that's good, but I look forward to that. It's not because of you. The idea here is that, we know that you've had a lot of experiences, you've, conquered a lot of, obstacles. And I think it will be also a source of motivation for the young engineers when they read about Engineer Binji and saw how he was able to accomplish all the things he accomplished in his life and career. They can also see that as a springboard for their own successful career in the profession. I think that would be a very good idea if you also consider doing something like that in future. I believe you can do that. You have it in you, sir.
Certainly, we will cross the bridge when we get there.
We already close to the to the mouth of the bridge. I believe so. Now, as we wind up, I want to ask you. Now, you talked about retirement, and I asked you, when do you intend to retire? Now, when you retire, what is the next move after retirement?
I'm not able to tell you because when you start thinking of retirement, it derails you. But certainly at this age, you know, your family needs you, your kids need you, and you keep thinking, what would you,
And even your nation needs you.
and even your nation. So I know where you are heading. I will not rule it out or in, but certainly, you know, we will see what happens. Yeah.
So you plan. You say, yeah, you know, I don't know. You said you know where I'm heading. I don't know what you're talking about. But on a serious note, do you, do you have any ambition to venture into politics or take
I
other
know.
public service role in future?
No, I know that's the question you wanted to ask, and certainly, you know, let's see what happens. We don't rule it out, we don't rule it in, you know. For now, I'm very happy doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to stick to it until I retire or until I'm kicked out. Then I will think of what next to do. I always leave my fate in the hands of God. I never choose to shape my destiny. I don't deliberately plan on what I really want to be. So many things I plan quite a lot. What I'm going to do tomorrow, what I'm going to eat, who I'm going to meet, what I'm going to say. But for my future, that is in the hands of God.
Thank you. Oh, I love that. But in hands of God, I know some people who know the story will be laughing. There is a state in Nigeria where the governor said that the state was in the hands of God, but somebody recently said that he abandoned the state in the hands of God and to pursue a different ambition, which later became a failed ambition. Anyway, I know we'll talk about that some other time. But while you leave everything in the hands of God, also, I know that you also have some other roles to play personally. Don't leave
Yeah.
everything in the hands of God. Now,
No, I'm in good hands in the hands of God. I'm in good hands.
yes, it's always a good hand. But as human beings, we also have God expect us to also play a role, our own part, while we
Yeah.
leave the rest in His hands. What do you
Yeah.
consider your biggest honor or achievement in life, and what legacy do you hope to leave behind in your career? And what advice do you give to the young professionals aspiring to excel?
Well, personally, I will say um, being where I am today is my one of my greatest achievements because to start as a young engineer, to rise through the ranks, to be able to head one of the largest conglomerates, to be able to have the opportunity that I've had, that I know a lot of Nigerians will not have that opportunity. I've had quite a lot in terms of very good education, very good training, very good exposure, and most importantly, I've had the support, the confidence of the owner of my company, and he allowed me to run the business professionally, and he had all the confidence in me. That is very rare with no interference. I believe not many people, uh, let me tell you, and this is true. This is true 100%. I was once given a checkbook, and this was like 20 years back. The MD then was traveling. He was a white man, and he signed like 100 this and gave it to me and said, until I come back, you can spend the money of this company, pay for whatever as you needed to do. You know, so when you are given that kind of opportunity and people have confidence in you and they have their trust in you, you are forced not to betray that trust. You are forced to do all you could to make sure you succeed and you are not found wanting. And that is very important. So coming to your last question, that is one of the advices I will give everybody. You know, like I said, there's no substitute to hard work. You must have integrity. You must be of sound moral character, you know. So you must not abuse your office. You must hold any trust you are given as if it were your own. That is very important. Do your own best. Uh, Study quite a lot. All these three principles. Work hard, pray hard, and play hard. You know, combine all these three and you'll be very successful.
Work hard, pray hard, and play hard.
Play hard, yeah.
That's a very insightful, very interesting one. I want to thank you very much, Engineer Binji, for being our guest inside the arena today. On a final note, what is your wish for this beautiful country, Nigeria?
I wish Nigeria would be the country of our dream. You remember, like I told you, I've traveled in so many places. And one day, I think we went to Dubai. And one of the people I was traveling with, he told me, Sheikh Zayed Road, the major road there where they have everything. He said he was once there at a time when I think forces were applying that road and dust was, it was raising dust. And that was a time when Nigeria was the hope of Africa. Where are we today? Where is Dubai? Beijing itself, you go, maybe like 3, 4, 500 five-star hotels. The same person who went to Beijing, he said he knew when Beijing had only one hotel where he stayed. There's no five-star hotel in Nigeria. Tell me. All these hotels you call five-star, they are four-star.
I
No
claim five.
five-star hotel in Nigeria. Where do you keep people? How would people really cope? You see, insecurity. In one of our plants, we have like maybe 600 armed men guarding the factory so that we could produce men for
600.
Nigerians. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. We not, even if we spend 10 hours today, it will not be enough to talk about Nigeria.
Yeah.
But talking about our guest, we want to say a very big thank you to you for accepting to be our guest inside the arena today. Honestly speaking, it's been an interesting time with you. I know our participants are gearing up to also make contributions to this edition of Inside the Arena. On that note, we have come to the end of the first segment, that is the direct free kick segment of Inside the Arena. It's my pleasure to open the gate so that our participants can also ask questions about you, about your career, and other interesting questions. But we have a caveat: if any participant asks any question that we consider inappropriate or has gone beyond the bounds of propriety, we are going to flag it, and then you are going to be exempted from answering the question. So the rule is, if you have a question, you go to the reaction button, you click on raise hand, and then we allow you to, unmute yourself and ask your question. So the corner kick segment is open. I can see hands already up. So Tasia, can you please unmute your mic and ask your question?
Okay, good afternoon, engineer. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity and the insightful lecture. I'll call. Yes, sir. So I would like to know whether your company currently does an internship training for engineers in civil engineering and chemical engineering, where we can learn more about our course, particularly civil engineering, because since your company is a cement production company, and in civil engineering, we also learn about cement as a material, structural material. So I would love to know whether or not there will be an opportunity for internship, where we could learn more. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, Tasi. Certainly we do internship. Being a manufacturing company, we employ a lot of technically skilled people, including and not limited to civil engineering itself, even though we are more of process engineers, mechanical, electrical, and some automation, but we also do this civil engineers. The advantage is that, even apart from internship, we do what is called a graduate trainee program, where every year we employ a number of young graduates, and then we put them through training. And I can see some of the people we took, some of them are even part of this, and we train them for 1 year, and then we let them out into the field, and later on they are able to gain full-time employment and work with us. So it is the opportunity is there, certainly.
Okay, so we are going to be taking them maybe in batches so that you can be able to respond. We'll take Cynthia first. After Cynthia, we take, I will not take Hawaii. Please, whoever that is Hawaii, please should change the name to a real name. So after Cynthia, we take K in the Ige.
Hello and good evening. Thank you, Engineer Benusi. Thank you very much, sir, for the insightful interview this evening. I have 2 questions, sir, if you don't mind. You talked about how you started you talked about on the initial conversation how you started the company. You talk about the challenges that you met in the construction of the first plant. I'd like to know what those challenges were and how you navigated them especially with your leadership style. And then my second question, sir, if you can talk about how engineers can get involved in business in Nigeria, get involved in the business terrain, especially as engineers, whether young or old. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. When you are going to build...
Please, can we take K also so that we can have it in batches? K, can you unmute your mic? Ige.
Good afternoon.
Question, please.
Okay, Engineer Binji is my boss and also one of my inspiration. The question I want to ask is how they manage work-life balance with the level of responsibility, at his hand. Because I know him well and I know how he works. Today, Lagos, tomorrow, Sokoto, next tomorrow, Pila, and the like. So how did he manage that and, by not even lacking in the area of family and the like? So that's my question to my boss.
Okay, sir, can you respond to these two? Then we come back to the next.
Okay, I will
set of
start with
people.
Cynthia. And Cynthia, you asked of the challenges we encountered when we were building our first plant. And I was project manager then, and it was in Edo State. And like I said, we had like 28 different contractors. Now, number one, the first major challenge we had was that when we asked Julius Berger to do the civil works, the site we selected, they said everywhere the foundation had to be changed because it was all rocky. And I will tell you, and this is a fact, when we wanted to blast one of the rocks, a single blast, we used 60 tons of explosives in one single blast. Probably one of the biggest blasts in Nigeria, single blast, to blast a rock to site our raw mill unit. The blast from Okpela could be heard all the way to Auchi. So every day is something new. It comes up. We had to build a 29.5 kilometer gas pipeline from a place called Okpepe down to Okpela. And this gas pipeline, it traversed 6 hills, mountains. One mountain was 150 meters vertically going up. And NGC then, later it was split into NGML and Nigerian Gas Transport Company. NGC then said it was impossible. No way. Anyway, we built the pipeline and NGC came and they had to do the pigging. So they put the pig at Okpepe. And we were at the Okpela end. And I was praying. And they released the pig. And the pig came out after 6 minutes. That means the line was clear and gas could flow. At a point when we sought for permission to build that gas pipeline, and I will not mention names here, we were refused permission. They said we had to tap from Ajakuta. And then, so it had to go all the way to the presidency. And then it was given orders that, okay, let these people, build their pipeline. And then the guy called and said, come and sign this contract. We say, where? Ajakuta or Okpepe? He said, if you want to do the pipeline in the clouds, it's not my business. I've been signed for you. Go and do it. So, and we did it, and it worked. It worked. So challenges are there, whatever you do. Now, your second question, engineers in business. Whatever you do in life, for us that are in the private sector, we are in the business world. What we basically do is business. Of course, we have shareholders and we have to make some decent returns for them. So it is a function of your career choice, whether you want to be in business. And as an engineer, a lot of opportunities are there. But the biggest advice is that if you want to be on your own, don't think big, think small. So many things you can do on your own. And then one day you are going to grow big. All these big people you have seen, they didn't start where they were. They didn't start at that level. They started small, and with time, with dedication, focus, commitment, you'll make it. Kehinde Ije, It was a pleasure working with you. I remember we recruited you and you worked with us, and you are now elsewhere. We gave you that opportunity. So you know how we did it. I was with you maybe 4 or 5 years living in Okpela. You know how we managed. No communication, no nothing. But you will always remember that every weekend I escaped. There are times I would leave Edo State around 6 p.m. on a Friday and arrive Abuja 10 p.m. Sometimes I used to drive myself. That time, okay, it was before the insecurity and the threat of kidnapping and whatever. But like I say, always go home, see your family, and come back. Sometimes I would leave Abuja after the morning prayers, 6 o'clock. Straight from the mosque, I will drive to Edo, and I will be in office in Okpela by 9:30 p.m. even before some people that live there go to work. So you always have to create this work-life balance. Otherwise, you will just be like a machine, a slave to things. And a slave to things, as our Sadat said, does not exist as a human being because you will always belong to things. You know, you belong to this or you belong to that, so that is it.
We take Engineer Ibrahim Hamandiko. After Engineer Hamandiko, we take Nguru and then Engineer Fidelis Ejikeme. So get ready. Please, can we make it just brief?
Okay, good afternoon. My question is, I have two questions. One is, how is the industry collaborating with academia in order to address some of the challenges in the factory, and how also the industry is helping the academia in their research and development? Two, having known that, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, then having most of your raw materials are locally sourced. But why is it that the price of cement is going too high? Thank you.
We take Engineer Ibrahim Nguru. Quickly, please, can we limit it to one question? One question each. If he's not ready, we take Engineer Fidelis Ejikeme. Ejikeme, please, can you unmute? And then...
I'm ready. Yeah, good afternoon. Good evening, all. Yeah, my question is, Binji, what are you doing to encourage the engineers working under you to pursue a lifelong learning, and also to encourage them to think outside the box and embrace innovation? Or what have you done, or what are you doing to that? Secondly, quickly, based on what you have said, it shows that you are a political engineer. Therefore, I'm suggesting you prepare your mind, pray for the best, and come out and contribute to the society. Thank you.
On this badge, we have Engineer Fidelis Ejike. Eme.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I actually didn't want to say anything at all. But when the presenter mentioned that he employs 600 security people for a plant, per plant, that nearly brought me to tears. And I asked myself, is this how far we have come? 600. He's been to many countries, but I'm not sure he has seen something like that anywhere. So let me put that aside, please. You talked about retirement. Yes, we must all retire one day. I'm 82 years old plus. So I'm retired. I know what retirement is all about. But please don't retire before the age of 65. Nigeria needs you. And then when you retire, would you want to consider how to reform education, training, apprenticeship, and experience in Nigeria or in the Nigerian system, both educational and working like in a place like Bua Cement? Thank you very much and goodbye.
So you can respond to this, then we take the final set of questions and we call it, before we call it a day for today.
Okay. Thank you all for the questions. I will start with Engineer Hamandiko on how we are collaborating with the academia. Like I mentioned just a short while ago, even yesterday I was at the Unilag Consult, and that is part of the collaboration that we are doing. You know, when we have a lot of consultancy work, we invite people from the academia to come and contribute because they are experts. And even yesterday, I told them, I said, number one of the major problems we have with you is we have misalignment of goals. Because for us in the industry, we are very impatient. We need results. And you cannot continue doing research forever. I say we have to wait 5-10 years from one PhD student to the other, you know, before we get the results, because we want to see immediate value. In 10 years, maybe things have been overtaken by events. So we are really collaborating with the academia to do quite a lot of things. And personally, myself, I supervised quite a lot of people. Even while in the industry, they come from the universities, and I'm one of their supervisors, and they get PhDs, even though I don't have a PhD. And yeah, there are so many I won't mention. Maybe one of them is here, I don't know. Dr. Joseph Tayo, you know, we employed him as a production manager, and he did his master's and PhD, and I was one of his co-supervisors. He's still working for us. He's our production manager, and I see Abdul Wahid. Abdul Wahid works under Wahid Abakar works under him in Edo. So that is really quite interesting. The second issue is the question on raw materials, and this is very, very interesting. Yes, the raw materials for cement manufacture are almost 100% available in Nigeria, except for maybe about 3.5%, that is gypsum, that is imported. The major issue is not the raw material. The major issue is energy. How much do we pay for energy? And I will tell you something that is very shocking. All the energy I buy today in Nigeria, the contract, the pricing is in dollars, even from NNPC themselves. So, for example, natural gas, and the price is pegged in dollars, even though we pay in naira. So when the value of the naira changes or the naira is depreciated, we have to pay according to that exchange rate. About 15 months ago, we were paying 461 naira to a dollar. Today, we are paying almost above 1,600 naira to a dollar. So the cost, energy, and like I mentioned to you, 60% of our cost of production goes towards energy, either natural gas to power our furnaces or to power our turbines, or LNG to power our generators or our furnaces in Sokoto, or coal we buy locally, but diesel also. I have an LPO that I bought diesel last year, 550 naira, beginning of 2023. Today I'm buying close to 1,150 naira per liter, is twice. And imagine you have to transport all this cement in trucks using diesel. So when you look at it, how much has the price of cement gone up? Not really much. Compare 5 years ago, price of cement and price of a bag of salt. Today, a bag of salt is 17, 20,000. Cement is still like 8,000. Come on. You know? So it's this raw material. I've appeared before so many panels this year, maybe 5, House committees, FCPC, before the Minister of Works, before the Minister of Trade and Industry, all to defend all these things. And by the time you lay all these facts, you know, then somebody just has to really sympathize with you. I said we are a Nigerian company, like others, and we are not going to close down, and we are not going to quit. because we have no country apart from Nigeria. So we will persevere the temporary pains until the good times really come back. And we believe they will come. So that is it. Engineer Ibrahim Nguru, you mentioned how we are encouraging engineers to pursue lifelong learning, and it's one of the things I really touched about. I said we have this collaboration with academia and a lot of people. We make sure they go on trainings, they develop their career so that they are working with us. Your second question, being a political engineer, I'm not sure that is a correct terminology. An engineer is an engineer. I don't know, but I will check the whether the term exists political engineer before I will be able to respond. Engineer Fidelis, thank you so much. The insecurity in Nigeria has really gone to a very, very great extent that it has become a very big cost to how we operate businesses. At a time, not now, at a time, we had to go into collaboration with a hostage negotiator. You know, you won't believe it. In Nigeria, there are companies that specialize in hostage negotiations. Foreign companies that are operating here. You know, so but fortunately things are getting better, and we continue to pray they get much better. But the life and safety of every of our employee is of paramount importance. So that is why you have to take extraordinary measures. BUA is the first company that was given a presidential approval to build an FOB, a forward operating base, by the Nigerian army. And it is still there. And then we built a perimeter at a certain radius that I cannot disclose. And within this area, we make sure you feel secure, you feel safe, so that we can carry out our business activities, you know? So it is really that bad. But like I said, things are getting better, and we hope they will continue to get better, that one day the challenges we are facing would be a thing of the past. That is our hope. One of the cement plants that I went to, and I was there for 6 months, is in Slite. Slite is a small town of 300 people on Gotland Island, and this is in the Baltic Sea between Sweden and Russia. And the factory, at the time I was there, was on a shift basis, was operated by 8 people only. And in a shift, you have what is called a shift manager. He's the team leader, controlling all the other people. And that shift manager, interestingly, whenever you are on duty, you are also the security man. You are the one in charge of all the cameras and opening the gates and doors. When somebody comes to the factory gate, he will press a button, and you will see him from your camera, and then, oh, I'm a supplier, I've come to deliver, you order for some bearings. The bearings arrive late at night, and I'm bringing them. And he will press a button, and he will be watching you as you come in and direct you to where you go and drop the items that you brought. And then you go out, he will open the gate for you to go out. No single security man in that factory. No single security man. So that is the difference between them and us. So we continue praying, and of course, an engineer is never tired. Whenever we retire, we'll continue with the education, training, and apprenticeship of young engineers. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We are going to take the final 2 questions, then we wrap this segment up. The first will be from Engineer Babakobi. Engineer Babakobi, please can you unmute to ask your question, and then Engineer Dam Baba, get ready.
Thank you very much, Anko. Let me start by appreciating the speaker for a very valuable response to the questions and his renditions. My question is on the value chain and concerning most especially transportation. I don't know, I want to tap from your vast experience, having worked in other countries before and translating your experience to Nigeria. Will you say that the existence, probably an existence of a railway corridor between the source of your fuel for energy purposes would have made a significant difference in terms of cost components if they were in existence? For example, between Edo and the environment and say Sokoto, where you have another plant. Okay, that is the question, sir.
We thank you very much, sir. We take the final question, Engineer Dambaba. Please, can you ask your question?
Okay. The host and the co-host and the fellow participants, good evening all. I am Muhammad Liao Dama by name. I would like to start with this quote that says, true leaders don't create followers, they create other leaders. Indeed, Engineer Yusuf Binji has a way of creating and shaping the minds of thousands of engineers. He gives his own quota to the development of his own country. But I would love to make this appeal. If we can have something like Yusuf Binji Foundation, even at local level, let me say Sokoto in particular. Thank you so much.
Okay. Can I go ahead to answer the questions, Ben?
You can answer the question, sir.
Okay. Mr. Baba Kobi, you know, railway remains the cheapest form of transportation anywhere in the world. Imagine us putting hundreds and hundreds of trucks a day on Nigerian roads, consuming diesel, contributing to a lot of emission of gases, contributing to railway congestion, to road congestion, and so many other things. This is what most countries do, most sensible countries. But it is a sector that has been neglected for quite a long time. Some efforts are being made now for human transportation, but they are not transporting goods. Okay, look at the refineries that we have. And imagine how many tankers will go out daily and they will ply the Nigerian roads, delivering petroleum products to all nooks and corners. Look at the number of cement trailers we are producing. You know, in a day, you talk of 800 to 900 trailers of cement leave our two factories 7 days a week, no single day, and they are always on the road. Look at the challenge of even managing the drivers themselves. Each driver with his motorboy, and what you really go through. You have people disappearing with your truckloads of cement. You have people faking their own deaths. Goods disappear. You have people, you test them for drugs. You know, this and that, and so many other things that you go through. A railway will certainly solve a lot of problems. Namba, thank you very much for the compliments. And yeah, sure, definitely a foundation is not far off. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you very much, our very distinguished guests. Engineer, should I add professor now to it? Engineer Yusuf, because you've spoken like a professor. And I think just like our elder statesman, Ejikeme said, and I have been one of those on a very passionate ground. I have been one of those who have advocated that those in the civil service, that before you are promoted to a certain, maybe before you become a deputy director should be deployed at least for 1 year to the universities to teach, to share their experiences with students. And I can testify, two of our best lecturers in school were those who came from the industry, those who practiced before they became lecturers. With all due respect to our lecturers, the other ones who didn't have field experience were just talking from textbooks. I know with the vast experience you have or you have acquired with other many engineers who also have vast experiences, if you go to lecture in the class, maybe for 1 year, 2 years, the kind of impact that will have on our students, will be enormous. So I think you should also consider that by the time you retire, don't just go back to relax. Think of spending 1 or 2 years in the university to impact your knowledge on our young students. That would be a very big contribution to the development of that education sector. I know you will consider that by the time you retire. That's my own take. And there's something I didn't ask you. I saw it. You were also involved in the production or in the broadcast. You worked, particularly with BBC Hausa. You were a broadcaster in BBC. Can you just summarize and throw some lights on that before we conclude?
Yeah, I actually ventured into journalism on a part-time basis when I was studying my master's in the University of London. And it even started before I commenced my studies because, like I said, like an engineer, I reported to the university 2 weeks before the resumption date. And during those 2 weeks, I walked all around London to familiarize myself. So, and one of my sisters, she actually gave me a message to deliver to one of her friends that was working for the BBC. So I went there. I went to the section, and the head of the Hausa section then, I think a guy from Manchester called Barry Burgess. As soon as he saw me, as I came in, who are you here to see? I said, Delu. And he said, are you her brother? I said, yes. Would you like to work for us? Then she came and she shielded me. She said, no, he's here to study and he will not work. He said, no. We have our opportunity. You can do up to 20 hours a week. Blah, 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 blah. And that was how I got into it. So right from day one, I started work. And even after my studies, I was still working. But later on, I said, no, let me come back to Nigeria and really pursue my own career in engineering. That was a digression, but it was a worthwhile experience. And I was on the air, like I think 3 or 4 times a week and throughout my stay. So that's how I was moonshining as a journalist, but that was a long time ago. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much once again, Engineer Yusuf Haliru Binji, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Wa Cement PLC. It's our pleasure to have you inside the arena. As you said, it took us some time to convince you to come, but I'm happy you finally made it. And I can see from the responses we have from our participants, they are very happy that, we were able to get somebody like you inside the arena. Please don't shy away. If there is need for us to bring you back again inside the arena, we are going to do that. The rest are assured that we are not going to push you too much beyond, the limit. We want to thank you and also appreciate you for your immense contributions to the development of this country. We cannot pay you enough, but what we can only say is that God will continue to bless and keep you and reward you for the wonderful things you have been doing for this country. God bless you. First, we go to the one that our participants have been waiting for, and that is the what we call the extra time. And in the extra time, we have plenty of prizes that we won today. As I said, very big prizes. LG microwave oven. And then I don't think I can lift. Can somebody come here, please? And then we have the Binatone deep fryer, and then we have the Binatone standing fan. These are the fantastic prizes we are going to, 3 participants are going to be winning today, courtesy of Engineer Binji. And also we have to thank some of the people who have been supporting us, Engineer Amaka, Oyane, and Engineer Bemigo, Vice President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, who has been a very consistent, supporter of this event. And I want to thank him immensely. And we pray that God will continue to keep and bless them. And some of our very senior elders who have been very consistent in this program. I think I have to also acknowledge the presence of our very first, guest in this arena, Engineer A.A. Rabiu, who is incidentally a very good friend. Our Deputy President and immediate past President of Koren, Engineer Kamela Wopa, Engineer A.G. Keme, who spoke with us, a very senior engineer who is very, very active at 82. And I can see many others, all the way from Mina. And also Engineer Babakobi. Engineer Babakobi, we are getting ready for you. I talked about railways, and then thank God you participated in this one. You are going to be one of our guests. Engineer Otinwa, past president of the American Society of Civil Engineers, Nigerian session, and also a whole lot. And if you go to the chat box, you see that there are many comments there. Engineer Dan Tata, my very good friend Nasiru Dan Tata, also made some comments about how you guys worked together. Engineer Ozigi, Engineer Roland Veruve, my very good friend. And so many of them that are here, I cannot mention. I saw Engineer Satomi. I think it's Engineer Honorable Satomi, a member of the Nigerian House of Representatives, my very good friend. And I can see my chairman, Engineer Ojebwa, and also my branch chairman, Engineer ASY Kutigi. My chairman, I'm lawyer, sir. That's the chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Abuja branch. And I think I'm going to broker that. Engineer Binji, please, on behalf of my branch, you are going to grant my branch the opportunity to visit one of your cement factories on our national technical tours. And I know you have the capacity also to provide some of the logistics for my branch members to come. Mr. Chairman, I hope I'm speaking your mind. So you get ready to follow up with a letter to Engineer Binji. He's my friend. I believe he will grant me that request.
Granted, is granted, is granted.
So, Chairman, please, Engineer Kutigi, after this, you are going to say a very big thank you. I have unmuted you to appreciate Engineer ASY Kutigi. You had the guest. Engineer Kutigi incidentally lived in Sokoto briefly. Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, briefly, can you hear me? I can't hear you, but I know you have unmuted. When you speak, we are going to give you the audience. While I acknowledge others, please forgive me. I can see Engineer Ebuzeme Felix, former council member Koren, retired director, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, and Hawa Binji, members of the family, Engineer Haman Diko, Engineer Ifunanya, all the way from Canada, Engineer Ifan Ichuku, many of them, please, if I didn't call your name, please. Oh, my Oga, Engineer Kunle Adebajo, one of our very consistent members, participants in this program. Please, if I didn't call your name, please, I'm just trying to scroll. Please forgive me. Engineer Nasiru Dan Tata, I think I have called you. And please, Engineer Weavery, my Oga, former past national chairman, Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, Engineer Professor Aluyo, and so many other senior engineers. Please, as I said earlier, forgive me if I didn't mention your name. That's I'm talking about our very senior engineers who are here present. And of course, the young engineers, the young shall grow. I can see many of them, Stephen Otronye and Paul, Engineer Paul, and so many of them. Please forgive me if I didn't mention your name. Engineer Kutigi, are you here? Please, can you quickly make your comment? Chairman. Chairman, Nigeria Site of Engineers, Abuja branch. That is the #1 branch in Nigeria now, as the record states. With all due respect to my friends from other branches. Okay, I think he has not unmuted. So I think we do that after the question. The first question, we have 3 prizes. Okay, let me bring the one that I can lift. They have brought it for me. This is one of the prizes. This is LG microwave oven. It's heavy, man. I think I don't have to do that. We have 3 of them. And please, if you win, we have a rule. If you win, we give you only 3 days to come and take your prize. If you don't come to take it, because we don't want to leave the office to be a warehouse, we are going to give the prize to the next person following. So please take note for those who are going to be the lucky winners today. #1 question is, what is the name of the, I think that would be hard. What is the name of the, allow us to say go before you post, where our guest was, the name of the state where he was first posted for his NYSC. Go. Sir, what is the name of the state where you were first posted for your NYSC? The name of the state only. So what's the answer? So we can confirm those who have got the answer correctly. I'm asking you, sir, what is the name of the state you are first posted for your NYSC?
Imo State.
What?
Imo
State. Fantastic. Okay, can you look at the chat box? You see those who have sent in their question, their answers, to know who first got the correct answer.
I saw Yvonne.
I can see from my
she
own
got it
side.
correctly. And
No, I mean the first to send. I can see Olawale Emiola, 1657. That's from my own side, the first to send in the correct answer. I don't know if that is what you have, and if that is the general consensus, we can, let me see 5 fingers up to confirm, because we don't want to give the prize to the wrong person. Or
yeah,
to
it's Emiola Olawale 1657. Kingsley.
The first person.
Kingsley 1657. Stephen 1657. Ifeanyichukwu Odimma 1657. No, I think quite a lot posted at 1657. But the first one
first? Who was the first? The one on top?
Emiola Olawale.
Fantastic. Emiola, please, can you unmute? Okay. Emiola, please, can you show us your face? Let us see your face, please.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic. Where are you? Where
I'm
are
in
you joining us from?
Lagos. Lagos.
Oh, Lagos, fantastic. You've won our first prize. Please, do you have my number?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay, please, you send me a message. You have to send somebody that is in Abuja to collect the prize on your behalf between now and Friday. So congratulations and thank you for participating. The
Thank you very much,
second
sir.
question is, what is the name of the institution where he had his master's in United Kingdom? Go. Emiola, you are exempted from this one. Let me see if we have answers. So what is the correct answer?
University College, University of London.
University College, University of London.
Yes.
Okay. I thought I saw University of Nigeria. Sorry. Not really. Okay. Okay. From your, oh dear. I'm seeing to, sir, can you confirm? I'm seeing, okay. I'm seeing two people. Ifeanyi Chukwu Odinma, University College, University of London, 1990. These guys are too fast. They prepare themselves for this. Okay, that's one I see also. Oyekule Ifeanyi Odinma. Ifeanyi Odinma, can you please show us your face? Can you see your face? Congratulations. You have won for yourself a big, deep, that's it, air fryer. Are you a bachelor? Are you you can now have something to enjoy yourself with. So congratulations and then thanks for participating.
Thank you, sir.
Where are you based?
Karishi, sir. Abuja, Karishi.
Abuja.
Yes, sir.
So between now and Friday, if you don't come to take your prize, we are going to give it to Oyekunle Iyanoluwa. So please take note of that. If we don't see you, the same thing with the person that came first. If we don't see you, we give it to the next person that came second. Finally, what is the name of the branch where he served as chairman? Continue. Go. NSC branch where he served as chairman. So what is the correct answer?
Sokoto.
Sokoto. So we go to Sokoto to look for Sokoto. I can see from my own side, Musa Ibrahim Musa. So what do you have on your own side?
Yes, same person, Musa Ibrahim Musa.
Musa Ibrahim Musa. So we have Musa Ibrahim Musa. Musa, can you please show us your face? First, you have to unmute. I can't see you again. I know this one.
I don't know me.
Where are you? I am trying to pin you so that how to pin so I can see. This is one of our big organs. He just graduated from what's the name of that Nigerian War? Is it War College or Defense College? War College. Congratulations, Engineer Musa, for winning.
I won't buy another bottle.
Being at home. Who is that person that is?
Which one, coach?
Please, if I your Dimma, please, can you mute yourself, please? Engineer Musa, congratulations. You've won a big standing fan for yourself. You have 3 days and 2 days between today, 3 days and Friday to come and pick your prize. We say a very big congratulations to the winners and also to those who didn't win. You stand a chance to win some other time. And we say a very big congratulations to all of you and wish you the very best. Finally, we say thank you to our guest, and we pray that God will continue to bless and keep him. Thank you, sir. And to the members of your family who have joined us today, we thank them for joining. And for the rest of us, my name is Engineer Ben O.C. Oko. I'm the host of this program, and it's my pleasure to officially sign out. Thank you, and God bless you, and have a very fruitful day.
Thank you very much for spending a greater part of your day with us, Engineer Ali Rabiu. Our special thanks, Engineer Nasr Dantata, members of my family, colleagues, distinguished engineers. A very big thank you to all of you.
Thank you, sir. I'll see you some other time. Bye.